Welcome to Mystery Files, where we take a deep dive into cases that span from the beguiling to the truly mind-boggling. I'm Shane, and today I'll be forcing my colleague Ryan to hear all about the incredible de Kooning heist. In the end, you'll have to decide whether the case is solved or if it's simply a mystery. Oh, hey, sorry, I didn't see you there. Is it nighttime? I forgot to eat today. Again. Oh, brother, if you're like me, life can feel like a big puzzle. It can feel like you're always trying to manage your career, your hobbies, your relationships, and your finances, and of course your health care. But you know, finding care shouldn't be the trickiest piece to fit into everything going on. Well, today's sponsor, ZocDoc, makes it easy to find and book an appointment with a doctor you'll love. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality, in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. You want to see your doctor in person? Great! You prefer a video visit? Well, you can do that too. View thousands of verified patient reviews to give you a real sense of who your doctor is. Maybe they hate small talk just as much as you do, or root for your sports team. Hey, whatever it is, you can feel confident that you can book with a doctor you know you'll love. When you're ready, you can see their real-time availability and click to book instantly. No waiting around. Getting the right health care shouldn't feel like solving some big mystery. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/mysteryfiles to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/mysteryfiles. This message, well, it's sponsored by ZocDoc, of course. In post-World War II New York City, there was a group of painters living in Greenwich Village who changed art forever. Known as the New York School, these artists innovated a new style called abstract expressionism. Now, the most well-known among them was, of course, splatter daddy Jackson Pollock. You know, him going like, aggression.
Yeah, you need it for that splatter.
Ed Harris.
Did he play him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Never saw it.
I'm gonna check it out. Ed Harris, splatter daddy.
Another equally venerated in the art world was Willem de Kooning.
Oh, cool.
Whoa, this guy is cool. Can we recreate this with me? Just get me a nice cigarette.
You just want a cigarette.
No. Born in the Netherlands in 1904, de Kooning stowed away on a ship to the US in 1926.
That's amazing. Yeah, great. I love the Netherlands.
My ship noise was amazing?
Sure, yes, that's exactly it. Sign it to that if you want.
In 1950, he began working on what would become his best-known series, and in 1953, he exhibited the first of this work at the Sydney Janus Gallery. The Woman series focused on women figures, and though still comparatively abstract, it was controversial that he was painting something distinguishable rather than entirely abstract.
What do you see?
I see women.
He's really fond of legs, it seems like.
This kind of looks like, what's the lady Gremlin's name?
Kind of looks
the
like
Babe.
Oh, yeah. Or kind of
Remember
looks like
the Babe in Gremlins
I'm
2?
sure you do, you weirdo.
Greta. I see Greta here. Those big, beautiful eyes.
Battletoads.
I think this is how you're supposed to engage with art, right? Saying it looks like a gremlin.
Or a Battletoad.
Which cartoon character do you see here? Pollock said he was, quote, betraying the cause by returning to human subjects. Others thought the grotesque depictions of women were misogynistic. Nevertheless, de Kooning exhibited more woman paintings in 1955, including one titled Woman Ochre. Take a look. You like that?
I think it's pretty annoying when another artist criticizes another artist.
It's not splattery enough.
Yeah, what the... Shut up.
Shut the fuck up, Jackson Pollock.
Why don't you focus on your own...
Go fuck yourself, Jackson Pollock. Now, in 1957, the Baltimore Museum of Art showcased de Kooning's recent work. After its exhibition, Woman Ochre was obtained by philanthropist Edward Gallagher Jr. and donated the next year to the University of Arizona Museum of Art. Let's set the scene. November 29th, 1985, the day after Thanksgiving, a man and a woman arrive at the University of Arizona Museum of Art just before 9 a.m.
And 3 days after.
3 days after.
That's 3 days after.
Your birthday?
Thank you.
Your birthday.
Yours is what, March 23rd?
It's not even close. Not the right month.
April 23rd?
Nope.
May?
No, getting closer.
Okay, May 25th.
Nope.
Shit, 23rd.
Nope.
21st.
Nope.
Is it even in the 20s?
Nope.
What? Okay, May 10th?
Nope.
9th?
Nope.
7th?
Nope.
5th?
Nope.
You're fucking with me now, right?
No.
8th?
No.
I wanna die. 15th?
Nope.
What? Okay, 16th.
Yes.
Yeah! Just cut it so that I get it on the first try.
A security guard opens the glass doors to let in an employee. But since it was so close to opening, the employee tells the security guard to let the two guests in as well. It was cloudy and cool out, and while the college campus was mostly closed for Thanksgiving break, the museum was open its normal hours. The man, initially described as younger, about 25 to 30 years old, had a mustache and dark, wavy hair, and wore a blue winter coat with a hood. The woman, older, around 55 to 60, wore glasses and a red coat and had her shoulder-length hair partially covered by a scarf. The two went upstairs with the security guard following them. But about halfway up, the woman turned to ask the security guard a question about a painting hanging in the stairwell. The man continued upstairs to the second floor as the two chatted. About 5 to 10 minutes later, the man came back downstairs and the couple left, climbing into a rust-colored two-door car and drove away. Are you getting all these details, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Good, because this is all very pertinent. You got it?
Yep, I got it.
Get it back to me. Feed me back. Feed it back. Let me see your notes. Come on. Let me see your notes. May 16th, Sweet 16, never forget.
But did you see the picture I drew of you? It looks just like you.
That does look like me.
It's really good. I've discovered I'm pretty good at drawing faces.
It's very sweet. I appreciate you trying to come up with a little device to remember that Sweet 16.
I'm never gonna forget it again.
That's very sweet of you. Thinking it was weird that they'd left so quickly, the security guard went upstairs and discovered that de Kooning's woman ochre had been cut out of its frame. The painting was then worth about $400,000, and today it is worth an estimated $160 million. Now, the campus police, called in from their Black Friday shopping, investigated the scene before bringing in the FBI art crime team and Interpol. They immediately theorized that the woman had distracted the security guard while the man had cut out the painting, rolled it up, and hid it under his coat on the way out. Are you trying to rub off your tattoo?
No, I crossed my arms and then I penned myself. So.
Did you hear what I said? I know that you struggle with ADHD and we're all very supportive of you. You know that. And that's why I'm checking in with you.
I did not take my pill today.
Oh, did you not?
And there's a reason.
What is the reason?
If I drink coffee, I'm too awake for this shoot. And then today I was like, I'm gonna back it off a bit. I won't take the pill.
We can do a quick show of hands. I think we prefer you to be too awake.
I'll take my meds tomorrow.
Okay. They immediately theorized that the woman had distracted the security guard while the man had cut out the painting, rolled it up, and hid it under his coat on the way out. As it was 1985, there were no security cameras in the museum at the time. The museum security guard didn't get a license plate of the couple's car, and there were no fingerprints left on the scene. A sketch done of the suspects, despite making them look cool as absolute hell, drew no leads.
That's pretty good.
This is good. I would love to have a police sketch drawn of me and my wife.
That is pretty cool.
These are cool.
Look how triangular that guy's mustache.
I know.
That's because it's fake probably, right?
Ryan? That's a great observation.
Detective brain.
They hoped someone in the community knew or had seen something and would come forward. Desperate, they turned to unorthodox methods, responding to a psychic who called in with a tip and hypnotizing the two grad students who were reported witnesses. Over the next few years, the painting never hit the underground art market. The case was closed for lack of leads in 1987. For years, the theft of woman ochre was on the FBI's list of top 10 art crimes, and the museum continued to hang the missing piece's empty frame for decades. Of course, over the years, theories as to what happened to the painting and what motivated the thieves abounded. Let's get into it. Theory 1. Random thieves. Now, this theory posits that the thief hadn't planned to steal woman ochre specifically. They maybe hadn't planned to steal anything at all, but having seen the opportunity, they took it. That's the extent of the theory.
Okay, so that theory is basically somebody stole it.
Do you buy that? That it could be a random person who was just like, I guess there's not a lot of people around.
I mean, technically anybody's a random person. I mean, I do think they obviously planned to steal something because one of them was distracting the security guard, right?
Yeah, you're right. Let's move on to theory 2. Art fans turned thieves. Now, though rare, it's possible that the thieves didn't want to steal the painting for money, but because they wanted the painting for themselves. Maybe they were obsessed with the piece and felt entitled to it because of their love for it. These types of thieves don't show off their spoils and keep the art all to themselves for years.
It's a pretty good idea. I should probably
steal some art.
Well, I'm just never going to be able to afford art. Who can afford art? That's crazy.
You can afford go to a local. Art is worth whatever it's worth to you.
That's true.
If it means something to you, then it's priceless.
How much would you pay for this portrait I drew of you?
$65. Higher. $3,000.
Sold.
Okay. Thank you. I'll send you a check.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna set this over here.
I'm really proud of that.
It's good. Looks like me. And that brings us to theory 3, contract thieves. Now, the final and most dominant theory over the years was that the thieves had been contracted by a collector to specifically nab woman ochre to add to their personal collection. Even if they just wanted a de Kooning, any de Kooning, this would have been a great opportunity. Few witnesses, little security, easy to get away with. These are, in the interim, people were just, well, what happened? I don't know.
But there's no possible person or
Nobody, yeah.
Just the mustache man and the lady.
They did not finger anybody, no. That's a detective term.
I know.
Okay, well, I think it's as good a time as any to take a little break. Let's marinate on this. And in the meantime, let's put on some disguises. We're gonna put on some disguises.
Okay.
As if we were pulling off our own heist.
It's also how I do my best thinking.
In a disguise?
Yes. Sweet. I'll take the Doc Ock glasses.
Mysterious scarf
yes,
woman.
Yeah, I could be Mysterious Scarf
This is
Lady.
a nice scarf. Ooh, it's mushrooms. All right, we're gonna put on our disguises and then reveal ourselves to each other. Hello.
Hi,
This is it.
I'm just here to make a withdrawal from my bank account for $1 million.
We're just here to see some art. Yeah, I think we're selling it.
Thank you.
Now, in the years following, the University of Arizona Museum of Art received $400,000 in insurance money for the painting, which they used to bolster security, including adding cameras. They pledged to reimburse that money if the painting was ever recovered. And of course, they no longer opened on the day after Thanksgiving.
Lesson learned.
I didn't know that security cameras were so hard to come by in 1985.
Oh yeah, I know. I was about to say, what the hell? What was their security system before? Just Frank?
Yeah, seems like it, yeah.
Just the guy out front?
In 2015, with the 30-year anniversary of the theft approaching, the museum thought, hey, why not drum up a little press for the mystery to remind people that the case remained unsolved and that the painting was still ostensibly out there. Art can resurface when its owners die, and the FBI art crime team hoped all the publicity would bring new clues to light. About 2 years passed, and then, Ryan, something crazy happened.
What?
Well, I'll tell you. This mustache is hanging on for dear life.
The hair got blonde.
On August 2nd, 2017, 3 antiques dealers from Silver City, New Mexico, David Van Acker, Buck Burns, and Rick Johnson, went to check out an estate in Cliff, a tiny town about 40 miles away. The 3 men had been hired by Ron Roseman, the nephew of a recently deceased woman named Rita Alter, to go through her belongings. The house was strange. It was packed to the brim with eccentric art and artifacts. Van Acker was looking at a mid-century modern dresser in the master bedroom when he noticed that there was a painting hanging behind the door. There was even a screw in the door jamb to prevent the door from opening all the way and hitting the painting. And you could only see the painting when the door was closed.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
You can't even tell
sure
it was
looks
cut out.
like it.
Yeah, it looks good as new.
The trio of antiques dealers brought the painting and a number of other items back to their store, Manzanita Ridge Furniture and Antiques. It had been there for about 10 minutes before a customer walked in. The man was a local artist, and he immediately clocked the painting and asked, "Is this real?" As the day went on, several other customers commented on how authentic it looked. Van Auker wasn't familiar with de Kooning, so he Googled the painting. And on the 4th page of results, he read a 2015 Arizona Republic article about the heist from the 30th anniversary press blitz, and realized the painting he'd found at the home of Rita and her husband Jerry Alter was, in fact, the missing Woman Ochre by Willem de Kooning.
All the person could have done is be like, I'll give you $30 for this painting.
Yeah.
Why would you be like, is this real? What the hell is this painting?
Okay, we're uncovering something about your character here. Is what's
I'm
happening.
just saying, you could do that if you were that person.
Well, you wouldn't know, would you? Because you wouldn't Google what it looked like at the museum.
That's true.
Van Auker called the University of Arizona Museum of Art and spoke to museum curator Olivia Miller. After seeing pictures of the painting and its signature, she and her colleagues were convinced it was Woman Ochre. Now, protocol meant that the university police would take over from there, but Van Auker didn't immediately hear from them. Meanwhile, word had spread through Silver City that Manzanita Ridge had a painting worth over $100 million. After the store closed that evening, they took the painting home with them, and Van Auker stayed up all night, guarding it with his guns, fearing the worst.
Makes sense.
That's cool. They should make a movie about this.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Where everyone's trying to steal it, and he's like, "Get the fuck away from me!" You know, I got a gun. You know.
Oh, I don't like guns, but I like the premise of holding a shotgun at a front door all night.
Try it.
Just fucking
Just
waiting.
try it.
Just waiting for someone to try and do me wrong.
Yeah, especially in the name of art.
In the name of art.
Oh, to kill in the name of art?
Yeah, sure.
He couldn't understand why the museum hadn't called him back, but he did hear from an intellectual property attorney who had heard about the painting and who encouraged him not to simply give it back to the museum. You know, there you go. An attorney was like, don't give it back to him.
You gotta give it back to them, but then you gotta be like, here you go. And then they might be like, thank you for doing
Sweeten
that.
be a little bit sure.
Here's.
A little sugar for your coffee.
Yeah.
But instead of heeding his advice, Van Auker called Miller back and left a message saying, quote, "Keep this on the record. I don't want to hold it hostage. I don't want to hold it ransom. I want you to have the painting back."
Good guy. Very good.
Oh, fuck. Fuck.
What the hell? Yeah.
Let's hear it for this guy.
Very
Noble,
good.
a noble man. The art world salutes you.
We do.
Let's hear it for this man. For once, let us applaud a man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's an interesting sentiment. Yeah.
The next day, Miller and a conservator from the museum drove the 3 hours from Tucson, Arizona to Silver City, New Mexico. After inspecting the painting, they confirmed it was Woman Ochre. Miller's reaction, and this is a direct quote, Ryan, "Holy shitballs." Taking it back to the University of Arizona, they discovered that the painting had been greatly damaged in the theft. They then sent it to LA's Getty Museum for repair and restoration, a process that took 3 years before it was finally put back on display. So obviously the way it was rolled up, you know, paint cracks, and so they spent several years restoring it.
I'd be curious what that process is like.
They're matching the aging and the pigment and the way the stuff oxidizes.
Stressful. Sounds very stressful.
Very stressful, you're right. Let's hear it for these people who are doing this over at the Getty. Come on, everybody.
It's good.
But who were the mysterious people who had Woman Ochre hanging in their bedroom? Well, Rita and Jerry Alter met in New York City and married in 1957. Jerry was a music teacher at a public school in Washington Heights and played clarinet in jazz bands. He retired at age 47, and the couple moved to Cliff, New Mexico in the late 1970s, building their own home on a 20-acre piece of land. Rita, 5 years younger than Jerry, continued to work as a speech pathologist in Silver City public schools. They had 2 kids, Joseph and Barbara, though David Van Auker from Manzanita Ridge reported that there weren't many photos of the children in their home. What there were photos of were their travels. Jerry and Rita loved to travel. It was an organizing principle of their lives. And they didn't travel like the average middle-aged boomer American. They went on adventures. Papua New Guinea in 1986, Moscow in 1988, Pakistan in 1989, Nepal in 1992. The couple reportedly visited more than 140 countries on every continent, sometimes taking 2 to 3 trips a year. When they went to Tahiti, it wasn't to a resort. Instead, they stayed in a hut on the beach for a month. And Rita especially kept a very detailed record of their travels, even domestic trips. Friends casually wondered how they funded these trips on a single public school salary, but never got a serious answer.
2 to 3 trips?
2 to 3 trips a year.
Damn. Obviously, it's bad they stole art, but they could have spent that money on
Ferraris and shit like that. But they're bad people.
They didn't sell art, because if they did intentionally steal, it's just sitting in their house.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take this off because it's gross.
Yeah. After it was determined that the painting in Rita and Jerry's home was indeed de Kooning's woman ochre, the FBI called Ron Roseman, Rita's nephew and the executor of her estate after she passed away in 2017 at the age of 81, and told him the news. He was shocked. He told the New York Times in 2017, quote, "My driving instinct is to say, this couldn't be my aunt and uncle." He'd admired them his whole life. His job as the estate executor was to try and sell their belongings for as much money as possible to put in a trust for Rita and Jerry's now adult children, at least one of whom may have had some trouble and not been able to work. So it was important to him that he didn't accidentally throw away items of value. There were so many objects from foreign countries acquired on their travels, but Rita and Jerry didn't have anything insured or documented, so he had nothing to go on. Roseman started by reaching out to universities and art institutions, including the Met, MoMA, the Smithsonian, and Sotheby's, sending them photos of the stuff in the house, including woman ochre, but no one said anything. So he moved on to Manzanita Ridge and even donated a truckload of stuff to a Silver City thrift store, Town and Country Garden Club.
Weird, they didn't contact the Chicago Institute of Art.
You know what? I bet if they did, they would have said, now that's woman ochre.
But they didn't, though.
Now that's a genuine de Kooning.
They went for S-tier places, so.
Shut the fuck up. So he did his part.
He did.
Shame on these museums. Lesser institutions. Now, Roseman grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and was living there in 1985 at the time of woman ochre's theft. His Aunt Rita and Uncle Jerry would come to Thanksgiving at his family's house every few years. At first, checking Rita's records, it seemed that they had not left Cliff for Thanksgiving in 1985. But then he found his own family's photos from that Thanksgiving, and Jerry and Rita were there. They'd arrived in their two-door red Toyota Supra. A photo from a few months later shows Rita wearing a red coat. In the photos, Rita's hair looks similar to the sketch of the suspects, and while Jerry didn't have a mustache, one of the museum employee witnesses had described the suspect's mustache as fake-looking. Mm-hmm. You got that!
Yeah, indeed.
You got that!
Okay, well, careful with my eyes, but yes.
When Rita and Jerry stayed at the Rosemans for Thanksgiving, they would typically go hiking early the next morning. And early the morning after Thanksgiving is when the woman ochre theft happened.
So they didn't go hiking that particular Thanksgiving then?
I don't know that there's a record of that, but they had a pattern of doing that.
Gotcha.
So they would have an excuse to have left the home.
I see. They're an active couple. That's cool.
Yeah. On top of this circumstantial evidence, there's also the book of short stories that Jerry wrote. The Cup and the Lip was published in 2011, a year before Jerry died at the age of 81, and he described the stories as, quote, derived from my personal experience. But several have disturbing plots. George and Susie is about a couple who stole for fun and includes the line, quote, they saw themselves as masters of victimless crimes.
What do you think about that sentiment? Victimless crime.
It's not, because you're depriving people of...
Yeah, depriving people of art.
I mean, people are not bodily injured, but...
No, but I mean, like, they're
their
robbing...
Their souls are not enriched
they're robbing
by the art that they could have seen.
Yeah, Indiana Jones would agree.
The Eye of the Jaguar describes a grandmother and granddaughter teaming up to steal a prized emerald from a museum right under the eye of a security guard, using methods that sounded just like what happened at the University of Arizona Museum of Art. The two later display the gem in a hidden place where only they can see it.
I just want to vibe check with you right now. What do you think of this couple?
I think they rule.
I'm struggling because I
disagree with what they've done.
This is tough. This is the nuance of humanity here. I think there's parts of them that really kick ass. Like, I think they're a fun couple. I bet you they'd be a fun double date. But I do think they're depriving the world of art.
Yeah, obviously, that's fucked up. You shouldn't do that. But as crimes go...
that's what I'm saying. It's tough.
It's kind of sexy.
It's kind of sexy.
It's like, oh, we're going to go steal some art. You know they stole that art and then got home and were just like, we gotta have sex right now.
I'm ashamed to admit that I also had a similar thought when you said they
No, it's okay. It's a sex positive show. Everybody knows that about Mystery Files.
First off, she was kind of a fox in one of those pictures.
Oh, absolutely.
And he was a good looking guy too.
Of course,
he had
you
great
saw
style.
those glasses.
And then you were saying they go hiking after Thanksgiving, and I was like, I bet you these guys have some tantric fucking crazy sex.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying I'd like to watch.
I think we can all admit that.
I think we can all admit as humans we would love to watch these two people have sex.
Yeah, as long as they...
Is that weird?
As long long as they were okay with it.
Of course, no, they would be totally okay with it. Are you kidding me?
Probably would be, yeah.
And there was one more story in his book titled The Handyman, which details a husband killing a migrant worker for having an affair with his wife and hiding his body in the septic tank.
I would have appreciated had you put that a little more towards the beginning, so I didn't say all the stuff where I'm like, I think these guys are sexy. I'd like to watch them bone.
I just wanted to lead you down the garden path a bit, see where
That's mean.
It does seem like a lot of the things in that book are admissions. Hopefully that one is not. But it does seem pretty specific. Huh? So,
Hey, man.
who knows?
I've learned my lesson in this show. You just don't make any judgments of people until the story's over.
Now, there are theories as to why the alters may have targeted woman ochre, so let's get into those. Theory 1, they were specifically after a de Kooning. Jerry and Rita were in New York at the same time that de Kooning painted his Woman series. In fact, it's reported that Jerry's sister Carol had lived near the gallery where de Kooning first exhibited the works. Now, de Kooning was a notorious womanizer. Could he have slept with Rita before she met Jerry, making him jealous? Or had one or both of them just seen the painting and liked it? Was Jerry jealous of de Kooning's success in the art world, or was he just a fan of good art? There are untold reasons why they might have coveted a de Kooning for themselves.
This feels like a stretch to me.
It also kind of makes sense that de Kooning was a womanizer, too, now that I think about it, because like all these fucking paintings
You're
are...
like, oh my God. The personal connection feels like, well, okay, a lot of people lived in New
Timeline-wise,
York.
does it match up?
It does,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, maybe. Didn't they have a bunch of other shit? It's not like they're
They had a
going
bu- they had a
strictly
bu-
after his.
They had a bunch of other shit. So,
Throw it out.
yeah, throw it out.
It's out.
Theory 2, they did it for the thrill. The story George and Susie describes a couple who stole just for the thrill. Could this have been Jerry and Rita's MO as well?
I mean, we sort of touched on this at great length. Sexy, a sexy thing to do.
I think we would be denying the human experience if we didn't all admit to ourselves that if you did pull off a heist with your significant other, that would be fucking hot.
Yeah, I buy it.
I like this one.
I like this one.
I do too.
Theory 3, they were international art thieves. Now, this theory goes back to the question of how Jerry and Rita funded their elaborate travels. As we said, they kept woman ochre in their bedroom, just for themselves. But were there other stolen artworks that they sold? Well, their former travel agent, interviewed for the 2022 documentary The Thief Collector, claimed they were adrenaline junkies. Apparently, Jerry and Rita would get themselves smuggled into countries they weren't allowed to go to, so they could have potentially been experienced with black market back alley dealings. May have been more comfortable with criminality than their simple middle-class life in New Mexico initially suggested. In 2024, a viewer of the documentary The Thief Collector took note of 2 paintings mentioned in the film. Ron Roseman donated 2 pieces, Aspens by Victor Higgins and Oklahoma Cheyenne, also known as Indian Boy in Full Dress, by Joseph Henry Sharp, to the Town and Country Garden Club thrift store. The works were then sold through Scottsdale Art Auction for $92,600 and $52,650 respectively. Figuring Rita and Jerry had committed other heists, the viewer, a writer named Lou Schachter, researched other area museum thefts. He discovered that the paintings had been reported stolen from the Harwood Museum of Art in Taos, New Mexico in March of 1985, 8 months before the de Kooning theft. The thieves, a couple, used similar methods. A woman distracted a librarian while a man cut the paintings out of their frames, hiding them under his jacket on the way out. It took the FBI about 14 months, but in May of 2025, those paintings were returned and are now back on the floor.
You know, okay,
The proximity of this, the paintings were in their possession and sold.
here's the thing.
What?
The paintings are stolen, right? That's bad. But then they have this sexy life, right?
They got a sexy life.
And the paintings are eventually returned. I think we could call that a wash, right?
Assuming he didn't kill a migrant.
Assuming he didn't kill a migrant.
That's not a wash. You
That's-
can't
no,
put
that is
someone's
not a
body in a
wash.
septic tank.
No, you
That's
cannot.
illegal.
You cannot do that. No.
Unless it was like their dying wish and they died of natural causes and they said, please bury me in a septic
Yeah,
tank.
then you can do that all you want.
Then it's fine.
Theory 4, it was a coincidence. Now, it's possible that Jerry and Rita had purchased these paintings without knowing their origins. This was their nephew's first instinct when he was contacted by the FBI. And with Jerry and Rita dead and unable to speak for themselves, it's impossible to know for sure.
That seems unlikely to me.
No,
Right.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're able to pinpoint their travels with paintings that were stolen at those times, I can imagine.
My thought is maybe they were art fans in general, realized they had a knack for thievery, and
Well, they kept their favorites, right?
it's one of those situations where we may never know because
Do we know how many other paintings that were stolen were found in their house, if any? 2 others.
yes.
3 coincidences?
And not only just stolen, but stolen from the area mere months before.
Okay, I mean, that's for sure, right? How do you say that's
It's
not?
pretty conclusive. Anyway, with all this information, do you think this is still a mystery?
No.
While the case of Woman Ochre by Willem de Kooning has been solved and the painting returned to its rightful place, we will likely never know for sure whether it was Jerry and Rita on that cool November day. And if they did do it, well, we'll never know their true motivations for the theft, nor the extent of their potential double lives as art thieves. What other works of art are missing because of them? Well, all of that remains a mystery.
You could turn those question marks into exclamation points
It
again.
feels like exclamation points.
Whatever. This is solved. This is solved.
It's solved.
Argue with us in the comments if it's not solved. It's solved.
Go to your local museum and look at some art.
Hell yeah. Also, what are you gonna do? Put fucking handcuffs on their skeletons? Like, it's over.
And honestly, they kind of nailed it.
I love seeing an older couple. Clearly, the light is still in the relation. They're having a great time. I like these people.
Me too.
If they didn't kill a migrant worker.
Tune in next time as we brace ourselves for a new mystery.
Fish bus.
Yeah, the fish bus. Isn't that kind of cool?
Fish bus.
Must smell like total shit. in
Fish
that thing.
bus.
That's a long drive he's making too. Just
In
in
a
a
bus full of fish?
bus full of fish.
Yeah.
That's gotta suck.